Hello and welcome. My name is Lauren, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I choose color palettes for my coloring pages. I've had a couple of requests from viewers to explain where I get my color palettes from and how I apply the colors to the page once I've chosen the palette and the pencils. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's get started. To begin with, I'm going to show the page that we'll be working on. It's from Mythographic Imagine by Joseph Kattenbang, and I have the Dutch version of the book. This is the page that we'll be working on. It is the robot page, and I always begin this process by mapping out the elements on the page. So I can see the focus point, which is this robot. I can see the flora. I can see the other smaller elements, the mechanical rabbit, this dog-like creature, and then we have the open area of sky. So I begin to think what colors I might want to use. Keep in mind that you can always find a palette that appeals to you, and it could be completely different from this mapped out original concept, but it's always a good idea to begin this way. And I look at the elements and write down the colors I think of. So for example, we have the robot, and I'm thinking either a metallic robot or a copper robot. And then the other mechanical elements could either be complementary to it. So if the robot is copper, then the rabbit could be gray, and vice versa. Then we have the flora. So I'm thinking colors of green and pink. Then we have the ground, browns or yellows. And then we have this open area of sky, as I said, and we have two options, either blue, bright blue for day or darker blue for night, or a sunrise or sunset with purples, yellows, and oranges. So these are the colors that I have in mind when I'm looking for the palette. So we're going to start that process now. I have 4 sources that I use for finding coloring palettes. 3 are on my iPad, and 1 is the Practical Color Combinations book. And I'm going to switch over to my iPad and show you those sources first, and then we'll come back to the Practical Color Combinations. The tool that I use is Pinterest, and I have downloaded to my iPad the Pinterest app. So I open it, and I use the search tool to put in the element from the page that we've chosen. So for our purposes, it is robot in the undergrowth illustration. So I type that in, and then Pinterest comes up with some ideas. And this is also a good idea to do when we're mapping out our colors. So for example, we see here the copper robot with the flora around it, or we can scroll down and see this one, another one that's quite antique looking and also got flora. So we see again, the oranges and the yellows, and then the greens and the blues perhaps for the background. And so we can get some ideas of pictures that we might want to use for inspiration. Here's another one. So basically you scroll through and you find the ones that interest you. So I know that I want to have a palette that has greens and browns and yellows and oranges in it. And so I can start looking for a color palette. I can stay in Pinterest, and I can go back to my search, and I can look for green, copper, brown color palette. Okay. And then it's going to come up with some options for me. So I've got this one, it's got the greens and the browns and the oranges, or there's this one. This one also has the added bluish color. We've got some teal, some darker green, some ochre, some orange, some reds. Oh, that's a really nice palette. Once I find a palette that I like, I save it. I save it to my color palettes board, and you can either start a new board or choose one that you already have. I'm going to add it to my steampunk board. And then if you click on that one, it might show you other similar palettes. Oh, this one's also nice. Okay, so yeah, that's what I do. I just save the palettes that I find appealing, and then I have them in Pinterest. Okay, so that is the first tool that I use. The second tool that I use is the Color Catalog by Sarah Renee Clark. The catalog comes in two versions, a digital version and a color cube that is a physical box that you can flip through. I have the digital version and I've downloaded it to my iPad. And when I'm looking for colors, this is fantastic because it's searchable and you can search by colors, by keywords, by collections. So I know from the page that I'm working on that there is this robot and I perhaps want it to be a metallic grayish color. So I click colors, I click blue-gray, and I get the palettes that Sarah Renee Clark has included in the catalog. I know that I want green on my page, and none of these palettes have green in them, so I know that it's not suitable for my purposes. So I can look in the second volume and I can again click colors, click blue, and then I have additional colors. Here I see that there are two palettes that do have green, so I click on one of them and it's pretty bright. I'm not sure that it suits the tone of the page that I'm going for. Nevertheless, I do want to point out that each palette has the hex code, the RGB code, and the CMYK code that you can put into other tools to find colors. I have a different video using Dopely where I explain how to use that system to find different shades of pencils, and I'll link that in the video so that you can check it out. Anyway, let's go back. So say again, I've got the colors that I want, blue-gray, this one, and again, I see that it's very bright colors. So I don't think that any of the palettes in the color catalog are suitable for the page that I've chosen. So now I go on to my next tool, which is the Traditional and Modern Colors of Japan. These are two books that I purchased from Amazon, and in the Traditional Colors of Japan, you have the ability to scroll to the thumbnails and then check out the colors that each thumbnail has. So for example, I can see that the Kabuki Theater thumbnail has some of the colors that I'm interested in, and it's on page 28. So I can scroll to page 28. There we go, page 28. And it has the oranges and the yellows and the blues and the greens. And yes, it also has the hex code and the RGB number and the CMYK numbers for inserting into Dopely to find colors for pencils or markers, or you can just compare these colors to your pencil set or marker set and choose colors that way. The other book is exactly the same, just different palettes. And so say, for example, I feel that I go through the thumbnails and I decide that this one is appropriate for me. So it's page 148. So it has the reds and oranges. It has the blues and greens. It even has a pink, not so much yellows. So perhaps this palette might not work out, but you can always test and look for others and change your mind until you find one that you like. So those are the three sources on my iPad that I use a lot: Pinterest, the Color Catalog by Sarah Renee Clark, and the Traditional and Modern Colors of Japan palette books. The last resource that I use is Practical Color Combinations by Naomi Kuno, and this book has, similar to the Traditional Colors of Japan and the Modern Colors of Japan, it has color palettes to choose from. So again, you have the palette, you have some information and a picture to go with it, and then you have the RGB and the CMYK codes here. This book unfortunately does not have the hex codes. Nevertheless, it's possible to find the hex codes by putting in the RGB to hex codes converter. You can just Google it and it will pop up, and you can put in the RGB colors and it will give you the hex code. And it's got lots of different ideas for combinations of colors, and in the back it also has an index to help you find colors as well as color swatches. So for example, if I decide that I want green or yellow, I can just look it up. It says page 24, for example. I can go to page 24 and it will show me the color palette for that color. I have gone through this book already a couple of times, and I have chosen a color palette that I feel will be perfect for our page, and it is actually this one. So after that entire process of going through Pinterest and Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog and the two Colors of Japan books, I decided to use this color palette because it's got all of the colors that I envisioned when I was mapping out the elements on that page. So it's got blues for the sky if I want it, or yellows and purples for the sky if I want that. It's got greens for the flora. It's got also yellows if I want to have a copper robot. It's also got these muted grays and pinks that will go nice with flowers, or even if I decide to make one of the mechanical creatures on that page these colors. So it's got the whole range of options that I was interested in when I was mapping out that page. So this is the page that I have chosen as my color palette, and the next step is to find pencils. So I use the Dopely website for that, and again I will put up a link to the video where I explain how to do that. So once I've chosen my color palette and I've chosen my pencils to match the color palette, so I have my blues and my reds and my yellows and my greens and so on, I have no problem mixing and matching different sets of pencils to get the colors that I want. And I also chart them out in a notebook. So I swatch them out to see what the colors will look like. And this way, if I ever want to use this color palette again on a different page, I will have the pencils all picked out for me. And so now I can begin applying the pencils to the actual page. So for this step, I have to go back to Pinterest and the pictures that I chose at the beginning of the process. So I look at the pictures and I choose the one that I feel most suits the page that I'm coloring and what I'm trying to achieve with the page. And I looked at it and I decided that it was this one. And so here we have the yellows and the greens, and I have the colors that I chose that can suit the page. So for example, if I'm going to make my robot coppery in color, I have these colors that I've chosen for that purpose. So yeah, I really hope that you found this tutorial helpful in choosing color palettes for your pages and pencils that you can use to color the elements. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the channel, it would be fantastic if you subscribed. So I hope to see you soon. Bye.